Hi, I'm Inbal from the Jerusalem Post. Thank you, Vered Atzmon, for joining us today, head of Resilience Department at ZAKA organization. Tell me, Vered, I know you were at the Shura right after October 7th, and that's probably been very traumatic for you. How did that change you?
Well, in the October 7th in about 11 o'clock at night, when everything just, we started to understand a bit what's going on, I got a text message from the head of the mental health psychologist in the Ministry of Health that I will send a kind of message an email to all the psychologists all over the country about the situation. So I just wrote to him, how are you? And then he wrote to me, I'm on my way to Shura base. At that time, we didn't know yet what's Shura base. So I asked him, what are you going to do there? And then he said to me, this is the base where all the victims and the dead bodies are coming now. So it's just got into me. I just wrote him, I want to join you. It was a moment that I can't explain. It wasn't rational. I didn't know what I'm volunteering to do. But it was like an inside call that was emerging. And after 5 minutes, he wrote to me that tomorrow night will be the first shift. And then I started a mission that actually really changed my life in a very deep way.
Yeah.
Our job from the Ministry of Health and the mental health care professionals were to escort the families in the moment of identification, the victims, in the part of maybe the worst and terrible situation when they are shocked and being entering into a new chapter in their life where they lost their beloved ones. And it's not just that. The moment that we are all, from the side of the existential part, it's like the worstest scene you can never imagine to see and to be exposed to. It was not just that; it was the condition of the victims and what happened to them.
Yeah.
So by the overall, it was a very shocking, painful moments. Our job was to see the bodies and the faces before the family is getting inside, so we can prepare the families.
So basically, the families were going to see their relatives, their loved ones that were murdered brutally.
Yeah, this is one of our rules in our tradition, in the Jewish tradition, that there is a part that we need to identify the body before funeral starts. So yes, they were asked to do that, but they can choose. This was our part to do, to see the condition and to offer them the opportunity. In the part of the psychological sense of grief and bereavement that they are starting in this point, it's very important.
Yeah.
There is a moment that you need to see something to believe, to have this memory, even if it's the worstest memory,
Yeah.
and to give them the opportunity to choose. So we didn't, they didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
But I can tell you from my experience
Yeah.
that no matter what really terrible conditions, when I told the family before what's the condition and to be prepared if they want to see them like that or they want to remember them as they were. Most of the people
Yeah.
was willing and wanted to do this farewell. It's
Yeah.
kind of a really
And I think in a way, when they see their loved ones, they kind of comprehend the fact that they are not alive anymore. It's very difficult. So your job there was a significant job, preparing them before and also being there for them after they have seen one of the most horrific and traumatic things they could ever see in their life.
yeah.
How did you deal with that?
Well, I guess there were like lots of phases of this, experience. I can tell you that nothing could prepare us to this situation. None of my lots of, education and studying and experience that I had, nothing could prepare none of us from the first responders to this situation. So for me, it was kind of an experience that I was exposed to a situation when I understood that the words that as a psychologist we are using as a tool
Okay.
was like vanished in a minute. Then I kind of felt in my body the pain that and the suffering, the bodies that were seen like in a situation that you can look at them and you can see the pain in their faces. So in one part, I understood that there are no words, but
Wow.
at the same time, I can share with you a very special feeling that actually changed my life forever in a way that I felt an inside call to be just present in this situation. You can't really comfort nobody in this situation, but you can be with them. So I guess that all of us there, all the psychologists and the social workers and everyone in this base was like very connected to the moment of being with the pain and the suffering and being kind of it's like being with them in this terrible moment was a for me it was like a grace moment just to be there with them, to hold their
Yeah.
hands. There is one scene that I will never forget.
Yeah.
Most of the scene I can share with you. You asked me how I dealt with that. So in the beginning, I guess that none of us really realized what's going on.
Yeah.
After maybe 5 days, there was a moment that I suddenly understood that I'm not really realizing what I'm seeing. The
Yeah.
condition was so rough. And then after 5 days, I just realized that most of the families that I was escorting the bodies were executed by point blank.
Wow.
So when I realized that, I just asked myself, is it by accident or, that I'm seeing most of the bodies like that or most of the bodies came like that?
Yeah.
So I went to one of the commander in the base and I asked him, listen, it's by accident that I saw that or everyone or most of them. And then he showed me a part, the detail that I didn't know, that 90% of the victims were executed by point blank.
Wow.
Can you realize
90%.
90% of the victims? So in that moment, it was like, in the worst darkness ever, I suddenly realized what I saw.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized another thing, that we are in a situation that we never in this generation felt or dealt with.
Yeah.
And that nothing can be, explained for these brutal, barbaric actions and violence. I saw children that were tortured. I saw women that were in a situation that you can't even imagine. So I understood that we are in a new generation, that we need to unite. That was one of the things that you asked me what gave me power there.
Yeah.
When I got to Shura Base, there was a phenomenon that I didn't know that everyone feels that in Shura Base. But afterwards, when I started the NGO that I opened and started to work with first responders, I suddenly heard that everyone felt that. There was a kind of a sacred unity and really deep feel of mutual responsibility in this base that connected everyone from all the sides of the society, Haredi people, non-religious people, from all the society. All of us were joining for one mission, to respect the last moments of farewell and funeral and the part of, giving the families the opportunity to feel that we are all together with them to help them bury this unbearable pain that they are going to suffer with that all of their lives. So that gave me power. And one of the things that happened there, that I always looked at the volunteers of ZAKA in the base, and I was looking at them. I didn't know yet that I'm going to work with them so deep and close, but I looked at them, and it was kind of unnatural situation that they are doing the worstest sin they can and work you can ever imagine. And though they were looking very empowered in this situation, they were very concentrated. And then I saw that every few hours, when there is the prayer of the hour in the Jewish religious, they are stopping their work, they're going aside, and they are starting to pray. I looked at that and I said to myself, wow, something is happening. It's not natural to do that in this situation, in such a deep, motivated. They did it with power. They did it for their relief of pain, to be together. And that experience actually started a new road in my professional life, because I understood that the spirituality side of resilience is a part that maybe until then there was not enough legitimacy to talk about spirituality and psychology, because it's like something very vague. But I think that now all of us are feeling that there is a need for special new techniques and tools to be able to get connected from inside to our natural way of the soul to repair and to heal. Like there are like buttons that we need to learn how to press, and we need to practice them. It's not coming by by nothing with no hard work. But if you practice it, like praying, but not just in a religious way, the meaning of that is just to be concentrated on the understanding that our mind is very flexible, and we can see that in the society all over in these days, especially. People are finding power from inside in the worstest condition ever. Darkness is like the light is getting in from the darkness in a way that we can learn just in this situation of massacre and war and loss. So for me, that was a turning point that gave me a lot of power. And another one, and another understanding was that if I saw that, if I got to be in this situation and to help other people, I need to do something with that. Because if I will leave it like that, it can be a trauma.
Yeah, and that basically is what led you to open the resilience department at ZAKA organization. Tell me a little bit. This is a very, very big thing, and why didn't they have this before? They've been doing this this is their job forever.
Yeah, actually, just last night, I've been in one of our retreats in the north. We are doing a kind of a special retreat with horses. So they just asked me the same question. They asked me how we can explain that until now we didn't have that, because we are doing that all over our lives. It's like 30 years of organization. So I think that the October 7th just opened the understanding of the need, but I think that the need was there before.
It wasn't such a big scale what happened, and the horrors that people were seeing, you understood immediately, and you led this whole department division.
So this is another special story. Just the opportunity to be in this position came to me as a surprise myself. I was after the Shura-based experience, I opened an NGO that called Meshiv Ruach. I was the professional manager. I understood that there will be a need to help the first responders, because so many needs. So who will help them? And the first responders are like me, I'm a first responder myself. And then after 3 months of delivering 2 days of retreats in the desert, I got a phone call from Oz. Oz Avizov, he's my partner at ZAKA's Department of Resilience. He's a ZAKA's volunteer for the last 20 years. And I got a phone call from him that he wanted to invite me to do a lecture for the women of the spouses of the volunteers. At the end of the conversation, I just told him, listen, I opened an NGO that gives a process of the trauma for the volunteers. Would you be able to bring them? And then they came for one retreat, and it was very, very special. And then after a month, I just got a phone call from the head of the ZAKA's organization to ask me to be the one that will open and build the program for all the national first responders in ZAKA. For me, it was a very special it is yet a very special, maybe the most special work I have ever done, because it's an opportunity to change from inside the part of the resilience that I've already had. You know, the volunteers are very resilient
Yeah.
a priori, or the October 7th episode. But for these days, we can see that the volunteers from the October 7th, most of them are still handling a very complex conditions as post-trauma symptoms, depression, anxiety. Lots of the volunteers, especially at the beginning and lately, we can see a change from their work at the resilience department, but you can see that some of them have never came back yet
Wow.
from
And
that.
what happens when this meets a marriage? I know you have special retreats for couples, and being in this situation can definitely affect a marriage. How do you deal with that?
Yeah, actually, we already knew that an extreme trauma is influencing not just the one that has been exposed to the trauma, it influences all his,
Everyone around.
everyone around, the family, the spouses, the children. Um, so we knew from the beginning that we will need to handle that too and to give them help. But after a half a year, something like that, I got lots of phone calls from volunteers that came to me and asked for help. They told me that they are feeling that they are burying the worst sin in their memories.
Yeah.
They can't share it with their spouses because they want to protect them.
Yeah.
But in the same time, trauma makes us feel disconnected from ourselves in a way, and then it reflects to our relationships.
Yeah.
So people started to feel that they are getting more and more lonely. This is one of the symptoms of post-trauma, that you feel very alone, that no one can understand you because you've been. So when they got to me after 3, 5, 10 volunteers that got to ask for help, I just realized that maybe we need to do something that is a group therapy for the volunteers and their spouses, because the power of the group to help in healing and rebuild their sense of resilience is much more powerful when you do that in a group.
Wow.
So at the beginning, it was something that I was, okay, how can I do that? You know, to put people that are religious together and sit and talk about emotions. It was very special, but we made it, and we are now doing a very special program that I developed that is based on my model that I just finished writing. I developed a model that calls the lens of the spirit. It combines psychological tools, evidence-based, that we know that works with trauma, and spiritual tools from the Hasidic studying that I'm studying for the last 5 years. And like, it was a moment that suddenly I understood that everything integrate together.
Yeah.
That if we put it together, that it will give them tools how to handle life, not just coming to therapy, within themselves. So we are doing a group therapy for spouses and the volunteers, and I can share with you a really, really, wow, exciting phone call that I got a week ago. There was one couple that were suffering from a very bad condition in their relationship, and they decided to get divorced. And I invited them to this retreat. It was very intense sessions, but after 5 days or 4 days, I got a phone call from their wife that told me that she can't explain how and what happened there, but they decided that they are going to work on their marriage, and they decided not to divorce because they understood that what influenced them wasn't their relationship and communication problems. It was the trauma that broke their sense of coherence and trust, not just in their relationship, in the world. And actually, for me, to hear this, this effect of this retreat on their life, on the family, on their children, it's really life-changing. So
It's a very
I'm
big
very honored.
achievement.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like I'm saying every day within myself, thank God for giving me.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God for giving me the opportunity to help these sacred people that they are very special in so many ways. Like sometimes I'm telling them that I'm learning from their experience and their practical tools, though the psychological part is really important.
Mm-hmm. You're now building a National Resilience Center. Tell us, what is that going to provide?
Yes, so actually, in these days, we are in the beginning of building a few centers all over the country for the volunteers, but not just for the volunteers, for being centers of pioneering the method for first responders in Israel and for giving these tools not just in Israel, for all the world, because we know that all the world are now dealing with the threat
Yeah.
of collective big trauma and war. So these centers are going to be in one side the houses for the volunteers all over the country, and in the other side will be a research and educational centers for helping the community and to give tools not just for the volunteers, for all the nation that needs help now.
Amazing. And have you ever felt that, because you've witnessed everything and you're talking all the time about the volunteers, but what's going on with you? You've been through the same trauma they've been. And in an interesting way, I find it that if you find a way to help yourself deal with what you've seen, you will obviously have the tools to help them as well. Did you ever use that?
Actually, this is exactly part of my tools that I'm practicing and learning all the time, is to not just to preach, to practice myself what I'm preaching.
Yeah.
I can tell you that one of the most important aspect of my work at ZAKA is to work with the meaning and the power of purpose and meaning with handling trauma. So for me, I think that being in a situation that I can help and to see the change that the organization is going from within. It's not, it's like from all the sides, from the top, from the CEO until the one that is just one time in a week volunteers. It's like you can see that they started to learn a new language, and language is a part of healing. We can't heal without talking and expressing the trauma that stuck in our body. It's not just the mind. We are holistic creatures. So for me, doing something with meaning and purpose is one of the most powerful tool that I'm using for, healing my soul from what I saw. I can share with you that I'm practicing meditation. I'm practicing a trauma release breathing that I'm using with the volunteers. I'm using ceremonies. I'm teaching the volunteers ceremonies that are spiritually helping us to kind of discharge the stress and the trauma that is stuck in our body. And these are tools that you can learn just, by practicing. You don't have to sit in front of a psychologist to do that, but you need to learn it first. And
Yeah.
one of the things that are very, very powerful is the power of the group,
Yeah.
the power of community. We are in a condition now in Israel that we are not just suffering from personal traumas; it's a collective trauma.
Yeah.
And when we are addressing a collective trauma, we need to be very sensitive to the power of the community
Yeah.
to help each other to be healed uh, um, and to make comfort in this unbearable situation that we are dealing now in Israel. And another thing that I think is very special in ZAKA, that they are very open.
Yeah.
When I started the retreats with the volunteers, I just, oh, they will sit in 2 hours and talk. Yeah, they are sitting 2 hours and talking. We are doing, I built like a new way of, the therapy of Wim Hof that is doing a ice bath therapy.
Yeah, yeah.
So I combined it with an imaginary tool of tehara. Like I'm bringing them to a way of consciousness, doing the Wim Hof technique
Yeah.
with a kind of a spiritual. I call it the mikveh of neshama. It's like to
Wow.
clean their body in a mental and spiritual way. I thought to myself, who would like to do that? But I will try. And they are doing that. And I can tell you that they are so amazed by what they are, you know, revealing themselves
Yeah.
and doing stuff like writing. I'm using a
Yeah.
tool of writing is a way to express our deepest emotions from
Yeah.
our soul without thinking.
Yeah.
So in the beginning, they're saying, "Oh, I don't know how to write. I don't know how to paint." And after a few sessions, they are writing something, and they're saying, "Who wrote that?" So for me, it's just an opportunity to give them back their trust
Yeah.
in their soul and just to practice that with them. And we are using a very innovative, and we are looking for innovations because it's a really unique situation in all the professional world. None of us really was prepared to this kind of extreme trauma. So I'm now um, in the beginning of bringing a new initiative that came from LA, from a Jewish rabbi that had an idea to help
Yeah.
us, and he found a technique that is a technology
Yeah.
that works with PTSD, and now we are starting to a pilot to work and see if it's working. And it's really, really exciting because we need new tools because it's not something we have been ever, exposed to. So we are using that, and we are using VR as a technique and AI, and we are kind of combining the knowledge from the past with the knowledge of the future, because I think this is our moment to really
Make a
write,
change
to make a
and
change and to write the pages of our history, maybe for the first time in our history as a Jewish nation that are always being hunted and massacres. And this is the time for us maybe to heal and process the traumas for all our ancestors and generation. And I believe that though it's really something we are still processing, we are not after the trauma, we are still in the middle.
yeah.
I feel a lot of hope.
Yeah.
And the hope is coming from, some of the hope is coming from the volunteers that are saying to me, the most hurtful pain that the volunteers are sharing is the part, not the scene that they've seen, the part of our nation getting getting separated from within.
Yeah.
So the unity side is very powerful in healing. So I feel that ZAKA's work on processing trauma can be kind of an example, not just to get the right knowledge and to build the right tools for first responders all over the world, I think. Not just that. And another part is to help others to understand the power of being united. Because, most of the volunteers are Haredic.
Yeah.
And I can share with you that I found out that in this condition, the sentence from that all of us know that we are all one soul in one body.
Yeah.
This is what we are all feeling, or most of us feeling now. And the ZAKA's volunteers is an example for being dedicated in Mesirut Nefesh, just for the good of others. This is something that inspires me. And if you ask me how I'm dealing with that, it gives me a lot of power and hope, just for, knowing that our responsibility now is not just for our people now, it's for the next generations. So this is my prayer, that we will do it the best we can now. This is our chance to help others and
Yeah.
us.
And Vered, I want to thank you. I'm sure ZAKA volunteers are very, very lucky to have you doing all this. And also, thank you for sharing everything here with us today.
Thank you so much, Inbal. It was really a great pleasure talking with you.
You too.